Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Who is wanting war with Russia? I mean, it seems like the Americans are trying to, negotiate and calm things down and solve the problem in Ukraine. Who is behind? What are the forces behind trying to stop this, to prevent this? Who are the profiteers? If United States is not behind supporting Ukraine anymore, we're told, then who is it? The Europeans can't possibly be because they're weak. So who is behind the Europeans? Who activated the Europeans? Trump wants to make a deal with Russia for the benefit of the Ukrainians and certain interest. We're going to discuss all that. And we have the mass media, the mainstream mass media, legacy media, as I call it, the operatives, media operatives, giving you the illusion that actually somehow is a bad thing for the Americans to speak with the Russians and try to stop the bloodshed in Ukraine. But who, que bono, who would benefit out of this? I have here about 30 articles. I'm not going to read them. I'm just going to go over their titles one by one quickly to show you in a quick sequence. And you're going to see who's who, what's what. These are articles that I picked in the past, 2 weeks, maybe. And you're going to see sanctions, military beef up, Trump is this, Putin is this, Russia is this, America dropped the poor Ukrainians, Zelensky is fantastic, the allies in Europe are struggling and to support. You're going to find out the three, at least, we're going to talk about this at the end of, after I take one by one each article here. The first one, Trump wants to buy Russian minerals. Is there any problem with that? Well, we're told that if you buy that, that means only one thing. Russia will have money to beef up its military, their war machine. That's all you need to think about it. Right there, that's all you need to think about it, right here. US open to economic cooperation with Russia. That means we do commerce. Now, and that hand, obviously, right now is not good, right? The Roman salute. Now, just so you understand, if you don't know it, the economic part of interest, or the economic interest, plays the most important role in these little wars. It's economics. That's interest, industries, banking systems. They are the ones that are going to profit, and they're going to pay on both sides. They're going to sponsor these garbage wars. So let's start with this one. So US open to economic cooperation with Russia. Excellent, I would say. The potential quote-unquote reset will focus on Moscow's frozen assets and restrictions on American companies, the Secretary of State has said. That's very good, I think. Next one. Trump wants Russia rare earth deal. What's wrong with that? The Russian military cooperation would be quote-unquote great for Washington and Moscow, the US president believes, and this is what he says. Russia has the fourth largest rare earth reserves in the world. They couldn't take over Russia, they couldn't conquer it. They tried in Ukraine, they tried in Georgia, they will try again, but this is just a timeout right now, it's just timeout. And this is what Trump said. I'd like to buy minerals on Russian land too, if I can, if we can. The rare earth, they have very good rare earths also. We can do deals there. What's the problem? And we're going to find out with the next, 30 or 28 more articles, who doesn't want this to happen. They don't want an understanding. They don't want, let's talk with these guys. No, we want war. We want war. Who's that? And you're going to find out even the weakest countries in Europe, they want war. But they don't go to fight face to face the Russians. But what if the interest tell the baboons in charge of those countries, you need to go. What do you think they will do? I think they will. They will get you into war with Russia. All right, let's go to the next one. This is what Lavrov said. You may disagree with that, obviously. I'm just going in a sequence of topics here. Not topics, articles. European Union, says Lavrov, trying to block Ukraine peace. Keep that in mind. The bloc has doubled down on military support for Kiev as the political landscape around the conflict is starting to shift, the Russian foreign minister has said. So the Russians are advancing, the Americans try to calm things down, and the Europeans say, no, more war. We're going to buy more weapons for you with the bank's money. And you guys are going to work. All right, let's move on. Let's go to the next one. Lavrov calls out Europe's peacekeeper plan for Ukraine as ploy to rearm Kiev. I said this many times. It's exactly what they want. I mean, one of the main points why this war that it was unprovoked was provoked, or the Russians invaded, was because they said no NATO troops in Ukraine. Ukraine should be neutral. This is our back porch or front porch, how you want to call it. No, you can't have it. And this guy said, you know what? We're going to allow you to have temporarily Crimea and the Donbass. Then we're going to have a peacekeeper troops from NATO. They will be legally allowed to invade and stay on Ukraine, exactly what the Russians wanted to avoid. And then these guys will probably accept Ukraine in NATO, and they say, wait a minute, we have to liberate those Donbass and Crimea without the Russians. The Russians can go to Sevastopol, or not Sevastopol, Vladivostok, I'm sorry, Far East. That's it. They're gonna find a reason to restart the war, this time with NATO troops over there. So they're gonna speed up the process, something that the Russians should have stopped in 1995, 1996, when NATO started expanding. It should have been stopped right then. But they were weak, and they had the drunk Yeltsin, who was, I think, overthrown by the intelligence community in Russia together with Putin and the military. That's a little for you over there. Here it is. Next one. Ukraine form. Germany's next government will continue to provide military and humanitarian support to Ukraine. Minister. All right, with her, what the fuck you expect? So, new elections in Germany. The conservatives won. No, they're not the conservatives. That party, CDU and CSU, the coalition that won 28% of the votes, are Angela Merkel's party. Now, if you think those are conservatives, remember they accepted 1 million refugees. Just like this. That's not conservative, my friends. No, they're not. The only conservative and real party over there is Alternative for Germany. For Deutschland. That's why it's a conservative party. The other ones are the same. So look, they will continue. So what do you mean you're going to continue? It's exactly what Putin said about the Americans. It doesn't matter who's in the White House. The guys in black suits will show up in 48 hours and tell what they're going to do. And the the interest behind the scenes that we're going to discuss here, they're going to tell the baboons elected what is the agenda. And they will, yes sir, here, this is the first one. We're going to continue. What do you mean we'll continue? They voted to change that. That was the main thing in Germany. Assistance for Ukraine. Right there, we're going to continue the same shit. Dark night for Germany. Elections will change little and nothing for the better. Despite the establishment's historic losses, it will still form a coalition and lead the country deeper into despair. This guy, supposedly this guy is the Friedrich Merz. He is the conservative. He's not a conservative, only Alternative for Germany. Next one. Germany takes, according to the Telegraph, takes the fight to Russia in an undersea cable war, the once poorly equipped Germany saw. It was not proven, as far as I remember, that the Russians dragged their little big dick on the floor of the Baltic Sea and destroyed the pussy of the Europeans' cables over there. They said the Chinese might have done it. But now these guys, the Germans will fight the Russians in the Baltic Sea with the Poles, with the Poles. And who else? Denmark, Sweden? Is that what's going to happen? And Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. Oh la la. Who's pushing this? Next one. In the meantime, Trump to cut off military aid to Ukraine after peace deal with Putin. Only then. Only after the deal is done, Trump will cut off. Until then, let me read what he says. U.S. military aid will continue to be provided. It's aid, but we want money for it. Like a bank, I lend you a loan, but you give me interest. That's not, and I help you. You don't fucking help me at all. You live on my back. If you disappear tomorrow, we're still here. If we disappear, you'll be gone too, because you depend on us. People and businesses. U.S. military aid will continue to be provided to Ukraine until a peace agreement is reached with Russia, U.S. President Donald Trump said on February 25. So, nothing changed. The military-industrial complex in the United States of America is working. All right? Through Trump. Did you vote for that? I didn't. All right, next one. European Pravda. Ukraine should sign up shouldn't sign up to any deal, even if Trump blackmails you. This is from the February 25th. This is yesterday. Gabrielius Landsbergis. This guy, I think, is not working for whatever Estonia, Latvia, whatever he is, Lithuanian politician. So this guy is not working for Lithuania. He is activated. He said you should not sign any deal if Trump blackmails you. So Trump is bad. I think these guys, they also have to show opposition. It's staged. Certain things are staged. People show up and say, oh, we love Trump. And then the other guys come, no, we hate Trump. To give you the impression that it's a discourse. That's a debate. The politicians are thinking. The politicians are calculating. The geopolitics. What should we do? It's not like that. It's not. You know what they care? Am I going to be elected next year or whenever? Will I be in power? Will I be appointed? Will I get that position? That's their primary goal. The rest? Oh, you want my mom? Go. Oh, you want my wife? Go. Oh, you want my kids? Go. All right. Don't believe me? They do this with countries. Do you think they care for about 1, 2, 3? Nah, I have no backbone. These are mollusks. That's what they are. Next one. Trump says Ukraine needs to agree on peacekeeping format acceptable to everybody. And he said Russia too. Russia will not accept shit. So peacekeeping format, remember, these guys are giving you bits and pieces to see how you react. No, peacekeeping troops is going to be the Russian peacekeeping troops. Russian peacekeeping troops, which is obviously occupation troops. Do you think the Russians will accept with NATO being over there? It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. Next one. The media operatives for you. CNN, Trump falsely calls Zelensky a dictator after Ukraine's leader accused him of living in disinformation space. So CNN, American media outlet, mind you, takes the side of a guy from a different country against our president. If you tell me, Emil, this is media, man, this is reporting objectively. You gotta be a fucking baboon in this case. Get out. All right, next one. Let me show you what's next one. It took Donald Trump less than a decade to turn the US towards Putin's Russia. Again, CNN. What are you talking about? It took Donald Trump less than a decade to turn the US towards... Do you mean like changing something or pretending? I don't think that the direction of the US will change versus Russia. It's going to be the same thing. Enemies, competitors, adversaries, how you want to call it. And they will work at destroying one another as much as they can. And so far, it's only one side who's really trying to do that. The other one, due to maybe its ideology and maybe impotence, cannot destroy the other one. But don't think that the Russians are not planning anything or they're not working. I mean, it's a war out there. It's not like, oh, kumbaya, we're all friends. So again, supposedly Trump did it less than a decade to turn the US towards Russia, Putin's Russia. So it's bad to talk to Russia? Basically, yeah. Next one. And we're going to have this Jewish guy who, again, is going to defend his Jewish guy in Ukraine. Senator Sanders, Bernie Sanders, he's Jewish. Senator. All right. Trump lies about Ukraine, Zelensky, and Europe while cozying up to Putin. So the Jewish guy defends his Jewish guy against this European guy and this European guy. It's just a coincidence, mind you. Let's move on. We're not negotiating with war criminals. You see, we're negotiating with war criminals. I was like, I know the title was not. So we're negotiating. So talking with the Russians, negotiating with Putin, we negotiate with war criminals. Was that proven yet in court? I knew that in America, not in fucking whatever Ukraine is there over there. You're innocent until proven guilty. So what are you talking about? Who's the criminal? Lavrov, Putin, Peskov, what? Again, this is again to make you think that, hey, those are really criminals. Are they as criminal as the guy in the Middle East from ICC court arrest warrant? Remember him? Bibi. All right, next one. CNN, Europe's closest ally is in bed with its worst enemy, CNN again. Now what? Shut the fuck your pie hole. This is analysis of Mr. Rob Pichetta. How old are you, goddammit? As someone used to say, my underwear are older than you. Jesus Christ. Pachetta, look at this guy. You are writing for CNN an analysis? How the fuck? Hey, can you drink and drive? Can you smoke? How old are you, man? really, these guys, news producer, CNN Digital Worldwide, is a news producer for CNN. Oy vey. So these guys told us that, hey, right there, we're in bed. He's in bed. Well, I don't think you're in bed with, he's in bed with his worst enemy. Now what? He's not an enemy. You make it to sound as being an enemy. He's in bed. And by the way, boy, America is not Europe's ally. America is Europe's owner, occupier. But hey, what do you know? You're 12. Let's move on. European troops, US support are part of an engaging plan for Ukraine, but it faces many hurdles. So you see, we need to be together against these guys. Says what? Associated Press. This is an opinion maker. In the meantime, Ukrainska Pravda, February 21st, EU begins discussions on 17th sanctions package against Russia, while the Americans try to negotiate. A very good start, EU ambassador on plans to deploy 30,000 peacekeepers in Ukraine. Very good start. All right, let's deploy them, right? So far, you got the military very much involved. Oh, it's a military conflagration, Emil. Yeah. Brazil's Lula refused to sell Germany weapons, and I'm quoting, to kill Russians. The president has reiterated that the Ukraine conflict can only be resolved at a negotiating table. Did you hear what the other guy said? With the military and that, and we can destroy them. Next one, Cotidianul Ro. This is from Romania. Bolojan, angajament total față de susținerea Ucrainei și unitatea EU. That is a sold-out guy. This is the interim president, Ilie Bolojan, a participat marți. So he's saying this, total engagement supporting Ukraine and the unity of the European Union. This is a tool, the interim president of Romania. So this is if you want to know, if you want to see a face of a guy who works for some other people, not Romania, this is one. Next one. This is Fortune. This NATO ally will buy more weapons as quickly as possible after intelligence report says Russia may start a war in Europe in a few years. A lie. I think the aliens will come tomorrow. I have as much evidence as this baboon who wrote that story by Jason Ma. Mama! Alright, so we'll buy. Who's that? Let me see. Who are those guys going to buy weapons? NATO member Denmark. Do you know where Denmark is? I'm talking about people outside of Europe. Do you know? And don't tell me Europe. Do you know where it's located? You know what Denmark is? If you say you know, give me the capital. Copenhagen? No? Give me the population. 2 million? 10 million? 1,000 trillion? What's Denmark? It's going to buy weapons. What's going to be doing with the weapons? The old ones sent to Ukraine, and they will rearm. So who's profiteering? Why? Because we know that the Russians are ready to attack us. Says who? Media operatives and jackals. Next one. What am I going to move into the side here? All right. Here, what Zelensky said. I'm listening. New voice of Ukraine. Zelensky anticipates continued F-16 deliveries from Netherlands in 2025. So Netherlands will give, again, weapons. So you got Netherlands, right? You got Denmark. Let's move on. Germany, Poland buys Starlink terminals for Ukraine and covers subscription. Supposedly the Americans canceled Starlink or threatened to cancel Starlink in Ukraine. But it's okay, Poland was activated. And they're going to buy Starlink terminals for Ukraine and cover subscription. Were the Poles asked about that? Was the Polish nation asked about that? No, your approval is not needed. BBC, I'll back Ukraine in talks with Trump. Starmer, the Prime Minister of Ukraine, how do you call it? What's going on here? What's going on here? So the directly unelected Prime Minister of Great Britain says he's going to back the Jewish guy. The president of another country. In talks with Trump. What is going on here? Who is this working for? Who pays the most? Remember when I told you about the mom, the wife, the kids? Exactly. Next one. United Kingdom to announce its largest sanctions package against Russia. And have Mr. Lamy, the French Lamy, right? United Kingdom, this guy. I made a video with this guy with the Jamaican flag right there. It's not a Jamaican flag. Anyway, South African, I think it is. I'm talking shit now. Let's move on. Boom. Hey, where are you? CNN, French, UK leaders rush to Washington at a historic turning point for the West. So these baboons, this guy who says he's going to back Zelensky against Trump, and this baboon who I think went to give this guy a message, go and tell him, will they tell Trump what Zelensky was told by Boris Johnson in what, April, May, when he showed up and said no deal with the Russians? Are these the messengers? They say the messengers are not sometimes. All right. So I don't know, I'm just kidding, my friends. Next one. Here you have another thing. While the Americans are trying to make peace, EU adopts 16th package of sanctions against Russia targeting shadow fleet, propaganda media outlets and banks. So when they guys propaganda media, this is the free Europe. The free Europe, they are banning media outlets they deem as they determined that's propaganda. Because their media in the Europe, there's no propaganda. No, only the Russians. Only the Russians have propaganda. We don't. No. You know what propaganda is? It's pushing a narrative to a population, sometimes lying, indoctrinating. This propaganda promotes something. So do you think that CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, these guys don't have an agenda? But it's propaganda right there. I have an agenda to tell you that the Russians are bad. And I'm going to talk about it. That means I have an agenda. That means I promote propaganda to paint those guys as bad or good. But if you use facts and evidence, you have to be balanced. What does it mean? Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. That means you look from as many angles as possible. I'm going to give you this angle today. So they are just starting, they're just going to sanction while the other guys try to make peace and negotiate. Macron arrives at White House for talks with Trump. Why? Is this Boris Johnson telling Zelensky something? I don't know. Kallas to propose defense initiative. Defense means military, okay? Weapons. To Ukraine amid new EU sanctions against Russia. Kallas, Maria Kallas, this infantile like Baerbock, I think she's from Finland. She used to be the foreign minister or something or maybe Estonia. I think it is. I can't remember. But anyway, she is now the foreign minister of the European Union. She's not good. She's like Baerbock. That she is the foreign minister of the European Union. Today is a special day, she said. She's like, I don't know, 30 something. Well, I don't know, man. It's just... And right there, they need defense initiative. She says money. Why? Because she's not going to go and fight the Russians. It's going to be you, your children, your husband, and so on. Ukrinform. We gotta know that Russia, its leadership, fully responsible for war in Ukraine. The European Union decreed on the 24th as the Russians and the Americans are trying to talk. So, is it really Russia and its leadership fully responsible for war in Ukraine? Does NATO's expansion have anything to do with that? Overthrowing a government in Ukraine in 2014 has anything to do with that? And the recognition of the traitors? Anything? No. It's okay. Hey, by the way, Ukraine was supposed to be neutral. Not NATO member, according to 1994 Budapest Memorandum. Next one, the same Maria Kallas, EU chief diplomat, infantile. Ukraine's path to NATO is irreversible. Ukraine must be part of NATO. What do you know? What's the world's population? Hey, quickly. What's the capital of, let's say, I'm not going to go that hard for her. Zimbabwe. Are you going to go Harare or not going to go Harare? Anyway, you don't know shit. But hey, it's irreversible. What does it mean? You're going to be at war with Russia until one of us dies. Why us? One of the Europeans. The guys in charge of us. All right? So what do you mean? That was the reason why these guys got in. And you say it's going to be part of that? You're going to have them at war. She likes it. She's got over there by saying this kind of shit. That's how Miss Kallas, Kaya Kallas, she's got there. Exactly like that. And maybe sucking some information. Let's move on. Leaders of Canada, big country over there. Baltic states, 6.1 total population. Nordic countries and Spain arrive in Kiev. So these are the guys. And we have the Jewish Yermak right here looking for these baboons. Everywhere you turn your head, you see a train. Next, not that. I think this is next. Nordic, Baltic countries to train and equip Ukrainian brigade. So Nordic and Baltics will train them. So now you know who's who and what's what. Do you know now? EU, European Union, proposed its own deal of minerals to Ukraine. European Commissioner, the Jewish Seymour from France, right? Séjourne. Strategist Stéphane Séjourne. European Commissioner for Prosperity. Go and look at his bio. Another one. Anyway, so what are they doing? They're fighting to rob Ukraine. Lebensraum. Remember Lebensraum? Lebensraum was that ideology promoted at one point by the Germans, straight the evil Germans at the time, that hey, we need living space. We need resources, and since you're baboons and you can't use it, and we are industrialized, we're going to take over. Through membership, like getting you into the European Union and making sure that you're going to wane away, but you're going to work for us, or simply by having spheres of influence. Exactly what the Russians want, but hey, the Russians can't have that, only the American interest. The guys in charge of America, not us. We're just baboons, we're just rats over there, mice on the spinning wheel working for them like crazy. So this guy says that, hey, we're going to give you a deal. What if tomorrow Russia says, I'm going to give Ukraine a deal? Are they allowed? So European Union, let me show you the next article. All right, where are you? Come on, open up. You don't want to open up? All right, it did. So European Union offer its own mineral deals to Ukraine, and we have Ukraine caught between European Union and US in race for rare earth minerals. And the Americans obviously win, and this little, 4.2, that's how tall this guy is, they're gonna fight for it. How? Blackmail, but, right? Oh, you don't think so? Remember what Mr. Benghazi said over there? He said, Berlucius Lucarlidus, the Lithuanian guy, whatever he was there, the Lithuanian guys, don't fall for the blackmail, the US blackmail. Is there a blackmail? So now let's reach the conclusion, which my conclusion. It's not national interest. It is above nations. I remember a movie, it was called The Network, 1970s, I think, with that guy who said, I'm a human being, goddammit. When he's invited by this CEO, whatever he was, owner, big, and he sits at a long table with green lights and so on. He said, there's no countries. It's only Enron, it's only Shell, Mobile, is this Raytheon, is this Boeing? There's no countries. It's the companies. Above the countries. They use the countries, as I said. These are the customers, and the ladies of the night are the nations. And in between you have the pimps who sell the nations to this interest. And those are the politicians and the bureaucrats that we elect by having them give them money. You got it? That's the way it is. So the pimp gets the money from the customer, which are the interests, as I said. And then they provide countries with access to the countries to have us work like mice with our resources and so on. And then they use us to fight against us again for their interest. Like right now, they use us, the Ukrainians, to fight us, the Russians, and have us donate and work for them, the Europeans and the Americans and so on. And they are all profiteering all the way. I told you the three pillars of the profiteers are the international banking system, second, military-industrial complex, and the third one is resources, natural resources interest. You're going to find these guys in all these wars right there, just for you. So I think that's what it is. And I think that right now Trump plays, I don't think that Trump is really, I think that the whole thing with Russia is a game, is a negotiating plot. That's my, assessment, gut feeling, how do you want to call it? Because behind all of that, there's some interests that make tons of money by the status quo. So if things go as they go in Ukraine, or even more war, they make ton of money, more than they will make. So do you think if, let's say, Trump stops that war, they have to start somewhere else another war? In the Middle East is not enough. China, they're afraid. So what war? They already got it. They got in the candy shop, and they don't have to pay, like 50 cents. Welcome to the candy shop. Yeah, you don't have to pay. Everything is for you. Why would they get out and close the candy shop when it's right there? We worked hard to be over there, my God damn it. Remember Al Pacino in Scarface? Tony Montana, when he sits in that bubble bath over there, and he said, I work hard for this. This is my business. I work hard for this. Oh, look at that pelican fly. Pelican fly, pelican fly. That's exactly how this is. These guys work hard to get these guys in a war and have this situation hard. And all these politicians, their politicians are doing their bidding, not you and I. Not you and I. And when you try to do something, you get arrested. Or maybe you have an accident. Look what happened in Romania. Călin Georgescu was arrested. I made a video a minute ago. Go and check that out. If the right person gets too popular, they try to first buy him out, threaten him, blackmail him, and then he's going to have an accident. They're going to make him, in a certain way to wane away. So that's the way it is, my friends. That's the way I think it is. Thank you very much for being with me again today. If you didn't know, now you know, as Dana White used to say. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.